Hi, beautiful people. How are you? This is Bethany Gagne, founder of Numinous, the organization that sponsors the Global Peaceful Cities Project. And this video is the 9th video in a series that I'm doing called Living the Field as a Consciousness Athlete. You see, essentially there are many of us that are living as a discipline, this deep understanding that we know that this physical body is not all that there is to us, that we actually have an infinite self. And if we work with our infinite self, we open opportunities to us that we ordinarily wouldn't have. And so you could also refer to this work as like intention or law of attraction. That being said, there's two things I want to say today, and so I'm going to speak relatively quickly. The first one is I want to give a huge shout out to the people who came to the meeting on Wednesday for the new Global Peaceful Cities Project. There are so many people that have been studying spirituality for years. They have so many skills that they're putting in service to the whole, and it was just such a gorgeous group that came together. And please be on the lookout in the next month or so for me to start this Global Peaceful Cities Project. And what's going to be different about this one is that, again, we're going to be learning how to calibrate ourselves to the field to create better outcomes in our life every day. So not only will you be using the skills to support the globe and hopefully change some of our trajectories in the globe, but also to change trajectories in your own life. And my intention is that by you seeing results in your own life, you're going to really understand how important it is that we need to hold space for sweetness at the global level. Because if you think about it, all violence is because there's a shroud over the human heart. So thank you all so much. You've all blessed me for your time, and I'm so appreciative. I'm looking forward to continue working with them, and I'll be doing another call out for people who also want to put meditations in service of humanity. So the other thing I want to talk about today is this idea of living, again, how to successfully live this field, right? How to successfully live using intention in your life and all of that. And one of the things I'm going to tell you straight out is that if you want to live law of attraction, one of the things that you need to learn is to tolerate sweetness. You need to learn to tolerate goodness. Now that may sound like, oh, well, that's easy. Well, actually, I found pretty much it's not. We have a nervous system that actually amplifies stress and negativity, and we need to kind of, first of all, overcome that, to say nothing of the media and the political environment now. So for instance, the other day I was watching CNN, and there was this one gentleman talking on one side of the screen, and at the same time they put up a complete tweet that was completely ripping this guy down. So how could I possibly listen to what this gentleman has to say if they're ripping him down on this side? So it's kind of like this idea that we've become unable to tolerate goodness. We've been unable to empty ourselves of ourselves and allow another one into our heart. And so I will tell you that this has been somewhat of a journey of mine. And I'm going to share with you a pretty profound story, I think it's profound, that happened to me regarding this whole topic, and why I have come to the understanding of how important it is that we champion sweetness. And it had to do with years ago, because I couldn't quite understand why we were offering this amazing product for free that we're going to be doing in a month or so. And it was going to lower people's blood pressure. It was going to reduce their pain. It was going to open their hearts and make them happier. It was going to help them sleep better. I mean, all these free bonuses from doing a peace project, and, becomes 68 to 84% happier in only 8 days. And yet people just didn't, were very resistant to it. And I knew there was something going on, that it wasn't just the lack of time, and it wasn't just lack of belief in it, that there was a deeper resistance to it. So I was asking on a regular basis these deep, profound questions of, what is the resistance to this work? Why is this happening? And I have been pretty much prone to mystical experiences. And so basically it can sometimes happen that I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'm often up in the middle of the night, and I meditate. And every now and then I kind of get whisked away into somewhat of a mystical experience. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of story. It might seem a little out there, but stay with me, because it's got a profound message that has certainly changed my life and has been why I'm so persistent with the Peace Project, even against many obstacles. And that is that what happened was, all of a sudden I was in a vision, and I basically was seeing all these fractals, like all these different colors, and everywhere I looked in my visual field, it was kind of jammed up with design and things like that. And I felt this kind of maternal presence with me, and I basically said, you know, could you please kind of tone it down? Like, I'm really a simple person, you know, like I wear solid colors, like can we just like tone down this beauty a little bit? And the answer that I got back was, look at the beauty, look at the beauty. And it reminded me that as a young girl, I would see beauty, and the people around me didn't see beauty, and they were very attached to the negativity. And so therefore I set a trajectory of shutting myself down. And so this idea of being able to tolerate beauty, tolerate sweetness. And so I came back, and for about a year after that, I was doing a lot of teaching about this idea of us being emotional diabetics. The idea that just the way a regular diabetic can't metabolize sugar, right? So they can't, their nervous system can't really handle that sugar. It's the same way that we've become as far as being able to tolerate sweetness or beauty. We really can't manage too much of it before we shoot it down, or we wait for the other shoe to drop, or we talk about how something's going to get destroyed. And to be able to hold something of goodness in your mind and to not argue with it is actually an incredible skill that is required to have this work for you. And then after that, soon I was doing another spiritual kind of workshop thing, and there were many people who were faltering. It was actually in Peru. We had to walk up a mountain, and there were many people that were really struggling with a lot of emotional stuff that was coming up. And I'm a meditator. I know how to stay in command of my mind. And so for me to stabilize myself, I would just focus on the mountains ahead, and I just focused on beauty. And what happened was I was able to withstand the strength of walking up the mountain, even though we were kind of doing some spiritual work, and I was able to hold my center, and I was able to stay strong. And that's when another message or another teaching that was given to me was that beauty is strength. And you can test this sometime. Pick up a barbell, think a negative thought, lift your weight, and then let it go, and then hold the thought of sweetness or goodness, and then lift a weight and notice how it feels lighter, right? So this idea of being able to tolerate beauty is something that is required if you are going to live the field. Because you got to understand, these higher levels of softness, these higher levels of consciousness, they're soft, they're wispy. They are not the harsh, jaded energies of this field, okay? So if you're going to become a consciousness athlete, you're going to basically live this as a lifestyle, then one of the things you need to do is to learn to tolerate beauty and tolerate sweetness. So you know how the last several days I've been teaching you how to scan your field to work with it? We're going to do pretty much the same thing, only from an entirely different edge. So take a moment now and scan your body in space. Become aware of your feet on the floor. Become aware of the space behind you. Become aware of the body to the right of you, and your space to the right of you and to the left of you. So what you're doing is you're becoming aware not only of your body, but the space around your body, because that's the place from which we are working with the field. Like, that's the eternal you. That's the portion of you that's non-local. And so take a moment and, become aware of, take your baseline, so to speak, right? So take your baseline. Now bring to mind something that's easy to love. So bring to mind maybe a pet that you love, maybe a child that you love. Maybe bring to mind gardening, or I heard skateboarding. It doesn't really matter. Just bring to mind that something that's beautiful. And take a moment and just allow yourself to stay open there. Now, where in your body do you know how usually I've been asking where you clutch, grip, or grasp? This time, I'm asking you, where do you soften? Where do you get tender? And see if you can allow yourself to tolerate that and keep it open. Because that's the gentle part of the field. That's the wispy energy of the higher frequencies that you are now letting into your field. So it's from that place that if you really want to live the field, you live in a wu-wei state, you're doing it, that you're striving to be as tender, as soft, as possible at all times. Because we recognize, as Course in Miracles says, in defenselessness our safety lies. It actually means that you're closer to the field the more you reduce your muscular armoring. So if you really want to live as a consciousness athlete, this is one of the disciplines, to be able to tolerate beauty. You cannot be bloated with self-importance. You cannot be filled with your own ideas and being manager of the universe and pontificating all the time. Absolutely not. The closer you get to the field, the simpler you get. And the reason why you have the trust to get simpler is because you recognize that there's a whole field working for you, and you're now learning how to work with it. So it's less on you and more in a partnership with you in the field. What I also bring to mind is it was Carlos Castaneda when he was talking to Don Juan. And Don Juan was talking to Carlos, basically saying to him that a way to calibrate yourself, to know that you're okay with the field, to know that you're in right relationship with the field, is if you could sit down and have an extended conversation with a little plant. And that idea of softness, that idea of humility, now you're talking to the field. Now you're moving your nervous system into a level of calibration where you have this dance and this interplay with the other side, and the arrogance and the us knowing everything, that's got to go. Another reference for this, obviously, is when Jesus said, they were just basically saying, take the children away from Jesus, they must be bothering them. And he basically said, according to the Bible, basically let them come unto me, because unless we're like children, we will not experience the kingdom of God within. Okay, so there's this beauty within you. That's why I always refer to you all as beautiful people. There is this amazing beauty. There's this amazing gorgeousness within each of us. And it is our job to be able to, if we're going to live the field, is to how much can we learn to increase our ability to tolerate beauty, to tolerate sweetness, and to tolerate joy. So this came to me today because I'm being fortunate that I get to go officiate a wedding ceremony today. And I was thinking about what a blessing it is to be able to be in a group of people to actually be tolerating softness for one night together. And it made me realize that that's one of the skills of being a consciousness athlete, is that we need to develop our tolerance for such sweetness, and the benefits are immediate. So thank you all so much for paying attention, for watching. Please share this with as many people as possible, and please participate in the Global Peaceful Cities Project, because that is exactly what we will be doing. We will be championing beauty, and quite honestly, we need it, because there's extremely little of this going on in our culture now, and it is showing through all of our challenges. So thank you all so much for listening, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.